What's going on, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming back to you with a huge, as our president would say, huge. It's totally huge, totally huge. Huge day. So after a long week, definitely something fun to kick off the weekend with. Did want to get in here on the live stream before a lot of people's streams went live this afternoon, and get this going. So, kind of as a backstory, I have a submission here. What's going on, Matt? You doing all right this afternoon? Got a huge unboxing. I'm just got a mixture of stuff from New Comic Book Day. I sent it off some slabs to PGX. I sent off these slabs at Wizard World to get these done. And so a lot of exciting stuff to unbox here today. So thank you for joining me live, or if you were to join me later, thank you for doing that as well. Speedi's Comics, some good old comic geekdom, yes. Southern accent and all, yeah. So went to Wizard World, first time at Wizard World, and it was okay. The people that were there signing definitely made it. Wasn't a lot of us diving to do at these locales. This locale, and it was kind of expensive comparatively to some stuff. So Matt at Mr. Comics 89 says, doing good, putting some t-shirts, hoodies on my channel. Link on the main page. Great. Cool. You stepping up your game, man. You stepping up. Now that Joker. Okay. Anyway. All right. So at Wizard World, I met Tyler Kirkham. And so I had several variant or blank sketch covers that I was looking at doing some sketch thing. And if you're wondering about my background, I had to move the camera a little bit because my window was putting a glare. I didn't want you to see the glare too bad on the head up there. So I did move it over just a little bit. So I settled on him doing this Joker cover. And so this was Joker, Year of the Villain #1 was the blank sketch. And on that, I got him to do a Red Hood whooping the Joker. So it's kind of like vengeance, right? And so check that out right there. Check that out. Got the blood flying. He's already missing a tooth. And so I kind of wanted to have this when I came home, but it had to go off to CGC, so it would have the yellow label. And as you can see, you already have seen, it's a 9.8, which I kind of figured on that. So the guy that was doing the slabbing had sent me a picture just so I could feel better about it. I was like, oh, cool, yeah, because I didn't want to wait till now to see what the sketch actually looked like. So when he sent me the deal, I said, wait a minute, he didn't even sign it. So he had to go back and sign it up here. So in my original picture that I posted on Instagram, it didn't have a signature on it. So he did go back and sign it. Did get the yellow slab. You know, I really didn't understand at Wizard World. So the Tyler Kirkham has this company. I'll think of their name in just a minute that he uses. Mad Mike's Comics. Thanks for just stopping by, man. So he has this company that he uses out of Florida, or they're familiar with him, and they go and drop the books off at CGC, which is where their offices are at, is in Florida. And then they go pick them up. And I really didn't understand because I had all these people that went to Wizard World in New Orleans and said, man, I would have loved to got Steranko to do some stuff and that kind of thing. And they didn't even know CGC was there. And I told the dude, I said, man, you could be making all kinds of money. You didn't even advertise that you were here. And so he was really doing mainly Tyler Kirkham stuff, but he told me, he said, man, go get some other stuff around the thing and I'll do it for you. But I just did these two. So I did that one, which was pretty awesome. And in full disclosure, I called CGC to see if they had done them. And they had said they had, which was great. Some Comic Book Hunter, thanks for stopping in, man. So I said, man, you got to tell me what these grades are. And so they told me on the Joker that it was a 9.8. And so they told me on the other one that it was an 8.5. And this is a Hunt for Wolverine #1. This is a variant cover done by Tyler Kirkham. And so when I bought it, it had a, you can see where he signed it right there. And you can also see that it was not an 8.5. It was indeed a 9.8. So there was some waviness to it. And I told the guy, I said, look, man, um, I was kind of wondering if I should press it, but I hate to press things with CGC because they take so long to get them pressed. He goes, man, that ain't nothing. I'll just put it under a stack of books. We'll get it done. So you can imagine my frustration when I call CGC and I said, well, what's the grade? They go 8.5. I said, crap. So this is really a good thing. Glad they were wrong. They looked at the wrong book for me, whatever. And so there is a different cover of this. It has the green Phoenix outfit as opposed to the red one. And then this is colored. And so Kirkham put his signature right there. Pretty cool guy. And enjoyed getting that. Got 7 people joining us now. If you haven't already, please give that thumbs up. And so should I open up the big boy next? I've got about 10 slabs that I got from PGX, and then I've got a big eBay haul right here. So put in the chat which one you think I should do first. I also have got some stuff from New Comic Book Day. So unfortunately, my kids did not take after my desire for reading. And so, but my fourth child, I got a Hope. And so I picked up some of these dollar comics when I went to a shop this week. Picked up these cool, my question is, of course, hey, you can do these comics for $1. Why can't you do the rest of them for $1 instead of $3.99 and $4.99 respectively? And so these are some really cool stories. Great way to read these if you happen to buy your copy of these already slabbed. I remember I used to have that comic back in the day, and it wasn't nothing. And then first appearance of Black Mass. So some cool dollar pickups there. Was just going ahead and showing those while you put your comments in the chat. And it looks like everybody wants to see the big boy. So talking about PGX, guys, I know that I hear all these bad things about PGX and how they're substandard. Look, everybody has their opinion. As a disclaimer, this is just my personal opinion. I can only say what I know, okay? And I have 0 complaints aside from pressing from CGC. 0 complaints. Their customer service, they're about a month to getting your books back. Fine, so, and everybody seems to believe that CGC is the top tier. And they charge for that top tier, right? So no problem, CGC. I have not, in disclosure, used CBCS. There's a reason I have not used CBCS, and that is because of the company that owns CBCS, Beckett Media, rather, is owned by a financing company called Eli Global. Eli Global owns some insurance companies, among other things, and they are being investigated for wrongful practices. So my question with that, is that going to affect CBCS? Are they going to end up getting sold off, closed up, combined, whatever? So I kind of hesitate for that reason of using CBCS, aside from the fact that Eli Global does own competitors. For those of you who do not know, I am in the insurance business. And so some of Eli Global's other companies that they own are direct competitors of my company. And Mad Mike says, CGC, if you plan to resell. Right. And that's a great point. And with that, I don't plan to resell them. My plan is conservation, and I like the way they look. Also, Lonebox Diamond, hello all. So Lonebox, you got your hat on today or no? But anyway, so that's why I've not used CBCS. The other thing with CBCS even and PGX is the price on which I can get stuff done. Would that make the CBCS more valuable? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess it would bring it all into question. But I like the changes that PGX has done to their labels. I like them better than I like CBCS's labels. and I'm going to make a determination. Again, this is all just my personal opinion. Everybody's subject to have their own, but I'm going to make some determinations as to whether or not I like PGX's slab, the grade of the slab, better than I like CBCS's. Okay, so appreciate everybody stopping by. Hatless at the moment. Some comic book hunter, yo hero, superior hero reviews. Thanks for joining us today. And the downside of PGX is they are not. They've got a fillable PDF that you have to fill out and send. You can't go online and check stuff out like you can with CGC, but I can get a different colored label with verified, and I can't do that with CGC. The other thing that they will do is I say, hey, if you look at this and see if it would make a grade difference for you to press it, press it. If not, let me know. I won't do it. And so they'll do that, which I thought was nice. You kind of in the back of your mind wonder if they just say, hey, just press everything because I make more money that way. They do not do that. Not with me. I have not tried EGS, Mad Mike's Comics. That was one that I did want to try because I like their labels. Their labels are different for all the books, the ones that I've seen, and they really match the color scheme of the books. So I really do like it. And again, I'm not trying to resell these things. And so it's all personal preference. And I've seen plenty of people on the internet that have said, okay, which one's which? Some have even gone to the expense of uncracking slabs and sending them in to all the different companies to see which one's which. I've seen some where the ones that came back, PGX was stricter than CGC, and I've seen some where CGC was stricter than them all, and I've seen some where CGC, you get the point, right? So it just, again, depends on, because it's all subjective, right? I can look at, and you can look at a grade, and you can say, hey, this is this, and then I can say it's something different. Bears Rocking Comics, appreciate you joining us. Appreciate you joining us. So just taking a look at some slabs here. So this first one here, GalaxyCon, hopefully y'all can see that. There we go. This is a 4001 AD done by Clayton Crane. And he put his little fingerprint down here, and sketch variant that I got him to do. And I sent this one in. So this one came back a 9.4. I was kind of surprised by this one, other than there was this bad spine tick right there. When I bought this comic, there was a bad spine tick right there, and I got that. So if you'll notice on their labels, they put where you got them signed by. So it shows signed and sketched by Clayton Crane at GalaxyCon on the date, because I was able to give them the date. The other thing that they do that I like, and I had, I paid extra for it, is it puts the grader's notes on the back, which they told me that they're in the process of redoing all this, and so that the grader's notes will look different. Because I asked them about doing some character labels like CGC does. I really like those. And so feeling the cases, they are not as hard as the CGC cases. Got two of them right here. So not as hard, it seems, as the CGC cases, but very comparable. I like the label better than the label for CBCS. And then the other thing was a price thing, right? Because I had to ask myself, was it, to me in my collecting, was it more important to spend the allotted comic book funds on grading, or was it more important to spend it on books? And if it was more important to spend it on books, which books was it more important to spend it on? Was it the older stuff? Did I just want to save up and get some better stuff? Or was I okay with just buying new books off the shelf? And everybody's got to make that call, and to each their own. That's the great thing about it, is that there's no right or wrong answer, because it's what's right or wrong for you. Some people don't like X-Men. I like X-Men a lot. That's most of what I collect. Some people don't like Valiant. I like Valiant a lot. So, it's whatever floats your boat. So great thing about collecting comics. So it looks like we got 8 people joining us, 5 thumbs up. So appreciate you joining us today. Big Will says, I have arrived. And Big Will, just for you, you missed this so that you wouldn't have to do it in the replay. Check that Hunt for Wolverine out. Tyler Kirkham variant that I got him to sign at Wizard World. Come back in 9.8. So know you're a Wolverine fan, so thought I'd show you that. So another book that I got a sketch cover for at GalaxyCon was from Alan Bellman. And so some of you know he worked with Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and all those at Timely Comics back in the day. He's a real fun guy to meet. And so he's 80-something years old and so still as feisty as ever. And he did this Captain America for me. Had old Hitler in the background checking him out. And found the sketch cover at the con for about $5 and came back a 9.4. And so did the rye. And I think it's because of the stuff, the pencils and stuff that they use to come up with this. And of course I can look on the back corner, crease at spine on front cover. Yeah, right there, right above the staple there. So, cool. And these, as they're referred to, Newton rings. No Newton rings. So this was a big book pickup for me, and this is one that they actually did a might have gone to bed, best Friday ever. This is a big book pickup that I got at GalaxyCon and got Neil Adams himself to sign for it. They did press it. So what PGX will do for you as well, they'll say, hey, look, this is what the grade was going to have been before pressing, and this is what it was after pressing. I guess make you feel better that you got your money's worth. I don't know. Classic Batman cover. 20 cent goodness, and as you might can see, that's a 6.0. So bought it at like a 4.0 price. Neil Adams signed it right there and got that. So it's definitely one of my better comics, or more valuable comics, let me put it that way, in my collection. Going to flea market this weekend, maybe an estate sale. Hey, there you go. Dive into some loan boxes while you're at it. And again, they put the notes as to where I got it signed, because I got it signed personally and knew the answers to the questions. Multiple creases, stress lines along the spine, cover and edge wear, and a 3-corner crease on front cover. Yeah, got it. Cool. Yep. So I got an eclectic mix of stuff here. Tim Seeley, who does, oh goodness, Money Shot. Some people might read that, some people don't. I do not currently, but I know that it does. He's a writer. He also writes the current run of Bloodshot and wrote Nightwing. Was it in Rebirth or the New 52? Can't remember. But didn't know that he was such a good artist. And so he actually done this Rye and Bloodshot mix right here. For those of you who are familiar with Valiant, I'm going to refer back to the 90s before the reboot, that the Blood of Heroes is the same as in the future, and Bloodshot is the now. And so he did this. The significance about this, Bloodshot 1 was an error. Printed with too smooth of a material to really draw on like it was. So it was recalled. I picked it up off of a comic store in Atlanta when I was over there, and he tried to get me to do one on some other cover, and I'm like, no, I really want it on this cover if I'm going to get it done. And he did it. And so I said, man, you didn't think that was going to be able to get done, but he managed to do it, and it came back a 9.8. So better than the other ones. Yeah, this book was really clean, and it should be. Stresses along the spine, slightly dirty cover, and that's going to be because of him working with trying to get that. So another one, classic cover here. And the cool thing about this is being, let me see if I can get, aside from this being a, yeah, put in the comments what y'all think. Everybody's, again, got their opinion, and it probably depends on. So this was Captain America Annual Classic Wolverine fighting Cap on the cover here. And it's got Mike Zeck, John Beatty, and Rubenstein. All three of them signed this for me. They were all at GalaxyCon, so I went from one table to the next and got that signed. And check it out, 9.4. So I was really pleased with that grade. Knowing I was going to GalaxyCon, this one was on my want list. And I said, I like having multiple signatures. Yeah, again, I think Big Will's, what do you mean the best? And again, it's all personal preference, right? To bear in Rock and Comics questions. So, so anyway, got that done up. And yeah, you're right. Again, I mean, I would rank CGC, me personally. Everybody in the comments, feel free to comment. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you disagree with me. Everybody's got their own opinion. I like CGC the best. Okay. If all things being equal, I'm probably going CGC, right? Especially if I go to a con and they're get some SIGs there, and I'm okay going ahead and spend the money for it. But let's say I have X amount of dollars to spend, and I decide to spend it on signatures or sketch covers or new comics in the collection, and I don't have the money to spend there. I don't want to send it to CGC for them to give me a green label, which is like the kiss of death. It's almost as bad as the purple label, right? At least in my mind. So instead, I'll send it to have some kind of other certification, which PGX and CBCS both do. But I like PGX better than CBCS for the original deal. So yeah, so I got this off of eBay on the cheap, knowing I was going there, and I like to get multiple signatures when I can. So again, had I just had the money to go ahead and spend it, I had already dropped quite a bit of money at GalaxyCon in particular, and a lot of these came from there. You know, I would have just went to CGC there and got it. Jaguar, thank you for joining us. Yeah, good point, Big Will. It again depends on where you're asking for accuracy. A lot of people seem to think that CGC does the best, but I believe that it's really subjective on grading. So it really, I think they're all about the same. But packaging and resale value, in my mind, are the two things that distinguish CGC versus the competition, whether it's CBCS, CGC. Somebody mentioned one earlier, EGS or something that I've heard of that I like their labels, but really it's packaging and resale value. Okay, so Big Will says he believes CBCS has better accuracy. Maybe I'll do a video on that and just send some more to CBCS just to say I've done it and check it out. I bought a few slabs that were already done that were CBCS. I really like the case, but you know, they might be old slabs. So benefit of a doubt, right? Now this one was one that came back and I was very disappointed in. When PGX graded it as low as they did, I did not anticipate that. Not saying that they were wrong. I'm not saying I was right, but really underestimated the grade on this particular book. This is Captain Marvel 29, classic cover. Got Jim Starlin himself to sign it. He told me he had to fight for this cover. Forget who it was that he had to fight with, but I'm trying, and I keep moving this, guys, because the sun's setting, and I'm trying to get the reflection off of here, but not really working. Yeah. Yeah, try some other ones out. And then the other thing is customer service. And like I said earlier, CGC, I've heard other people dog CGC out about taking forever. Now they do on pressing, but everything else, they've all been a month from the time that I got them the comics to from the time I got them back, a month. That's all that can be expected. And the case is certainly better. So, um, and they seem to be the industry, top dog too. So came back a 4.5. I about told them don't even worry about it grading that. They told me a press would not help this particular book. I thought it would. I about told them to go ahead and do it. They said that there's multiple stress lines, covering edge wear, multiple minor water stains on the front cover. And I did not see the water stains on the front cover. I don't now. I see some on the back cover. Maybe that's what they meant, or maybe I'm just not seeing it. But Starlin signed it down here at the bottom. Again, about told them not to worry about it. So, got a good price on this puppy right here, Iron Fist. This is Marvel Premiere number 15, first appearance of Iron Fist. See if I can again try to get the glare as much as possible off of the book. This was one that actually came back better than I anticipated. Mr. Comics 89 says, my only complaint about CBCS is the label design. Yeah. CGC, best look, but I don't like the headache of sending books in myself. I always use the dealer. Huh. And it's funny you should say that because mine was right the opposite. I don't like using a dealer. I didn't use a dealer, but like a licensed person at a show. Every time I use a licensed person at a show, I can't go online myself and check out the grader's notes. That's my first complaint. The second complaint is that I haven't had that great of luck with people that do that because it seems like, okay, well, I got your money. I'm going by. I'm not CGC, so you can't get mad at me. And CGC says, well, it's not us, it's them. And so there's really nobody to blame. And so that's my complaint with that. But I have submitted directly to CGC and had zero problem. Yeah, label is kind of ugly. Yeah. Yeah, that would be a cool thing, because there are certain people that just have it on for PGX, and there are certain people that have it on for other companies. And again, I think it's all personal preference. I think all companies have they do this right, and then the other company does this right. So again, it's what you're looking for, right? So this one came back a 7.0. So has stress lines along the cover, which I knew about. And they were color breaking, so that the press did help the book grade, but it did not do away with all that other stuff. So another cool cover. Big Will, you're gonna like this. Weapon X #1, and check that out right there. Adam Kubert and Larry Hama, both of them signed it at different cons last year. And one was in New Orleans, one was in Covington, Louisiana, so not too far from either one. And so this was a copy, bought it out of a dollar bin. I've got another copy that's not signed. And cool Wolverine one-handed action with Jean Grey, and it came back a 9.4. And had several spine ticks. They said stress along the spine. Yeah, a little bit right over there by the X. But yeah, so I got Adam to sign it on November the 1st and Larry Hama to sign it on the 16th. So yeah, dug that. And so, this talking about, all personal preference, this would be one that people would go, why in the world would you slab that? Well, I just like the look of it. It's my money. I'll do what I want to with it, right? So, because this book is a dollar bin book, but I got it signed by two different people and got a decent grade on it. And now it's preserved in the slab, as it were. So, another cool book that I picked up, and I'll tell you about the surprise on this one. So, it's a newsstand. So if you can see it as it's coming down the way, you recognize this classic Spider-Man cover as the Web of Spider-Man cover. This one's a little more special because it's got 3 signatures on it. And so we got Mike, Bob McLeod, and J.M. DeMattis, and they all signed it for me at GalaxyCon. So got 1, 2, and 3. I really wish they would have signed it in a different color for it to really pop on that deal. They didn't, and this one came back as 7.0. Now that one was kind of a disappointment, but there were several things I missed. The spine ticks on the back of the cover. Now this is a cool book because, and I didn't realize this, they actually PGX actually pointed it out to me. They said, and we're going to add this on the front. It's a Mark Jewelers insert edition. So I bought this on eBay knowing I was going to GalaxyCon and never even looked in the side of it because I've done read the story before. So never even looked in the side of it to realize it was a Mark Jewelers edition. And then the person on eBay never said anything either. So hopefully my internet is reconnecting. Somebody type something in the chat if you can still see me there. All right, so cool. Okay, so, and being the X-Men collector, as it were, this is the classic X-Men number 2, the first appearance of the Vanisher. And this one I know wasn't a really high grade. I had my thoughts, and I know Big Will, you do a good job at putting out some content regarding grading. Really been digging that, and then also, but so this grading thing is still relatively new to me. I'm not a high grade type of a guy for most of my books. You know, I go by the mantra: it's better to have low grade than no grade. And so I picked this up for the cheap on eBay. Yeah, old school Mark Jewelers. And you know, truth be told, a lot of my other stuff has probably got Mark Jewelers in it that I bought and I didn't even realize it. So picked it up on the cheap, and I had an idea of what this might be, and I was right. 2.5. It's got a lot of stuff wrong with it. It's missing a couple of chunks on the back up here. And I knew it wasn't high grade, but I did want to preserve it by getting it slabbed. And I was curious as to whether or not I would be close on the grade. Now, this one right here. X-Men number 7. This is one of the first appearances of the Blob. I have the first appearance of the Blob, which was X-Men number 3. And this one is got some Blob action going on again and some Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And this one came back a 4.0. So I had graded this at a 3 and it came back a 4. So I was pretty pleased with that. I believe they ended up pressing this. Water stains on the front cover, multiple stress lines, significant cover edge wear. Yeah, you got the water stains up here, right up here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Kind of turns brown right there. So, I mean, pretty much, again, they were pretty much on the bar, slightly lower on some, on top of their game on others. And again, it's all subjective. So, X-Men number 8. This is the first appearance of Eunice, not to be confused with Uranus. But I picked this up on the cheap on eBay several months ago. This is X-Men number 8, and this one came back a 4.5. I had this figured at a 5. It had some issues that I thought would come out with cleaning. They did not. So yeah. So again, now this last PGX book, and I still got a bunch of stuff to do to show y'all. This last PGX book, really because it's just such a classic cover and it was so hard to find, was the reason why I went through with going ahead and grading this one. But as you might can tell, this is X-Men number 101. So this one is hard to find on the cheap anymore. And it can't be because of the Dark Phoenix movie, because by all accounts and purposes, it sucked. So it can't be because of that. I just think it's an iconic cover and, you know, a lot of hype, whatever. So it's kind of hard to find it on the cheap. So I went on an auction site and found it, what I felt like was on the cheap. Well, it pays to read the fine print, people, because what I didn't realize on the auction site is that they don't ship it. So you have to pay somebody to go pick it up. So I called this guy that does his courier service and he went and picked it up and mailed it. And it cost me another 40 bucks. Read the fine print, Jason. But anyhow, it still was a decent buy, but I thought I'd really found a really good deal. It still was a decent, and I knew it was going to need a deal, and it came back a 5.0. I was disappointed with that. There was some pen writing here on the back, and multiple stress lines. And I don't know about this water stain, man. These water stains, did my books get wet or something? Because for the life of me, and this book right here, I don't know if you can tell it, and I felt like a press would get that out. There was there you go, right there. Looked like a subcrease almost. Maybe somebody took it and there we go. Put it in their back pocket. And I said, yeah, press will get that out because it's not color breaking. Not so much. So that did not happen. And the crazy thing about getting this PGX box was that it was supposed to have been here Tuesday. And it's like 5 o'clock Tuesday. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? It's 5 o'clock Tuesday, and it says it's in Salt City. I said, there's no way I'm getting it today. So I called FedEx, and they go, yeah, you're right. We just ain't changed our website yet. So it ended up coming yesterday. I was out of town. My wife had took the kids to school, and guess what? That's when FedEx shows up, and you got to have a signature to pick the stuff up, and understandably so. So my wife had to reschedule them and meet them to get that today. So just got those today. So they're not long into my personal collection. So a lot of hype on this book right here, Batman 89. So the Matina cover, as Bueller says, the funky Cole Matina cover. And the great thing about this was I went to two shops, no Batman 89. I'm sure some of you that collect Batman can testify the same deal. It wasn't on my pull list, so that's silly me. But so I ended up going to shop, called this other shop that never has anything worth anything, but on the rare chance, and they said, yeah, I got one copy. I said, great, put it up for me. I'll be there in 10 minutes. So I picked it up, and it happened to be the one cover that I wanted because I wanted the Matina cover. I am the sucker that pays the extra dollar for the card stock variants. So DC's figure something out with me there. So, even though I'm a Batman fan, I have the entire run of Batman Volume 2, Batman Volume 3. Yes, I suffered through Tom King. So I have the entire volume. I thought about, man, let me throw this thing Joker on eBay, make me some money, and when this punchline thing goes down, I'm going to be way ahead. Well, Big Will, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Well, Big Will, and let me show you this comic right quick because although it is not up to your standards, Big Will, I know you will appreciate the Wolverine one, the Alex Ross variant. And I agree with you. Great Alex Ross art. Not the best Alex Ross, but definitely worth the pickup. So I did pick that one up yesterday. And also got Wolverine Through the Years. So this was a freebie that my main shop was giving away, and so it's just Marvel trying to, like the premieres, trying to sell old comics and hype up Wolverine. So picked that one up for free. Got this one yesterday, DC Unkillables. That is a really cool, and I believe this is Matina as well. If I'm not mistaken, this is who that is. So really cool red hood on the cover there. And the funny thing about this book, I never read Deceased, all of them. I read the first one, didn't read the rest of them. I'll get them one day if I can find them on the cheap. But I know Big Lion Cat, he's going for all of them. So definitely a massive undertaking. But the funny thing about this story, the funniest thing to me in this story, is not to spoil it for anybody that wants to read it and has it already, is when Red Hood gets the Joker and ties him to the front of the Batmobile. Just like, I should have been the one that killed you. Hey, I'm going to at least get some fun out of this. Tie him to the front of the Batmobile, let him eat all the love bugs and everything else, right? So that was pretty cool. Kind of going back to this book that I showed earlier that I got Tyler Kirkham to do. So yeah, again, really cool book. All right. Picked up Marauders number 8. And so I had been thinking about dropping Marauders for a number of reasons, not the least of which is their use of the Iceman character. However, I will give them credit that Iceman came back as like classic old Iceman, freeze them out, show them who's, the Omega level mutant in the room. And in this issue, they find out that Kitty is dead. Lockheed is still alive. And we'll see how that plays out. Will she be resurrected? Who's the Kitty Pryde from Wolverine #1? Who's the Kitty Pryde from Fantastic Four? And it's not uncommon, for dates to change and for people to end up being in comics that are already deceased and others. I highly doubt that they are going to leave Kitty Pryde dead. They've got the protocol and all in X-Men. But we know that she hasn't been able to go through the portals, but they can get her to the island of Krakoa. So we'll see. Feel like she's coming back. Star Wars #2. No, this came out last week. I cast on it last week, but decided to go ahead and pick it up this week. That's a pretty good read. The Visitor #3. I think this is a 4 or a 6-part series. Picked up just because I'm a Valiant fan, and I think it's going to get dropped. Really didn't like it. Bloodshot. Oblivion Song #24. Really enjoy this series. This is one a comic shop had turned me on to. Picked up a couple of trades, and now I pick it up in single issues. Went back and got the first issue, Pink Sig edition, and so really enjoying this read right here. Cool little twist towards the end of the book. And don't want to spoil it for anybody who might be wanting to read it later. Bloodshot #0. So this was a good story. Not the best Bloodshot story ever, but it was a good Bloodshot story. Joker Killer Smile #3. On all 3 of these, I've gotten the alternate covers, but I really like the Jeff Lemire and is it Andrea Sorrentino that does the writing, but they're the same pair that does the Gideon Falls, which I also like and dig, but it's in that same style and same format with the craziness and zaniness of the Joker. So that is really cool. This is an older one, but picked it up in a shop I went in yesterday. This is the series before the current series of Bloodshot. This is Rising Spirit #5. New Mutants #7. This was an interesting one this week because on the New Mutants was one of those titles I've been kind of iffy about. Went ahead and picked this one up. I am enjoying the ones that Hickman's doing with the Space Odyssey of sort with the old team more than I am the Earthbound team. But this one was kind of funny. They broke the fourth wall a couple of times, so it was kind of Deadpoolish, and it was good. I liked it. Glad I picked it up. There's been some other ones that wasn't so happy that I picked up. Wish I would save my money and spend them on something else. And I'm sure we've all had that same experience. So I've still got a bunch of stuff to unbox here. I guess if I was worried about the YouTube algorithm, as it were, I guess I would have made multiple videos, but just got one giant haul video all together. So hoping everybody's got some good plans to go some long box diving this weekend at a comic shop near you. I had kind of thought to go to C2E2. I've been on the fence about it. Not that I didn't want to go. It was as to whether or not I could go. Work schedule is kind of crazy right now. the old finances. Uncle Sam wants his money, and so all that kind of stuff. And kind of, do I want to go? Do I want to go? Bear Rock and Comic says, I've dropped all the Marvel books, got bored, sticking with the indies though. Got that on the stump. Oh, cool. And yeah, I mean, and look, used to, I was a guy that looked superhero all the way. You know, if they're not in spandex fighting crime, I'm not interested. So I used to be one of those guys, and started picking up Oblivion Song, picked up Gideon Falls. I fixed to pick up some Mad Cave comics. Thanks to Two Brother Comics for pointing out them to me. There's a couple of indies that are slipping my mind right now that I got. Oh, Once and Future I picked up from Boom Studios. So yeah, I've been picking up some more indies lately myself, Bear, and for the same reason. You know, I'm looking for good stories, and the thing about, you know, an independent, I know that more than likely those independents, unless they're like an issue one or big character or something like that, they get optioned for movies. Who knows? And unless they're that, they're not going to be worth anything. And a lot of the Marvels aren't either, I know. But so knowing that I only have so much money, sometimes I'll wait for a trade in some of those indies and get them on the cheap. Now, but the stories are just so much better, at least in my mind. Shows in is good. Okay, Strange Skies over East Berlin. I've heard some good things on that. I enjoy Curse Words. Yeah, you know, Curse Words doesn't sound like it's too appealing to me, but I know the name can be misconstrued. And I forget who writes that. And it seems like it just got optioned for a movie as well. But the thing with the indies is, look, they've got so much on the line, and they know they've got skin in, because these writers, you know, they go to Marvel and they know they got all these toys to play with, these age-old toys that everybody likes. Hey, Mastodon, thanks for stopping by. Hate you can't stay a while, but have fun at family movie night. But yeah, so the indie guys, they put their heart and their soul into making these creations. They've got to find interesting stories because they know that everybody's like me. You know, there's only so many comic dollars out there, and at $3.99 a pop, you know, you better be grabbing stuff you like, right? I mean, it's not like the days of 60-cent comics, which I remember. You know, it's not like that no more. So you got to be on the hunt for some good stuff, unless you're solely dedicated to those age-old characters like Marvel and DC have. And they know that. And so because of that, they put their heart and soul into it, and good for them. They're hoping to come back with some good royalties when they get old, and not be like some of these guys and be in the food stamp line, so to speak. So I'm going to a con in Huntsville, Alabama. There's another one in Mississippi, and there was another one. Oh, the one in Memphis in October. And all of them, Stephen Butler is going to be at. And so for those of you who might not be aware, Stephen Butler lives in Mississippi. He lives in Hattiesburg, I believe, which is about an hour and a half from me. So it makes sense that he's going to some of these local cons. He hasn't done a lot of work that I'm interested in, but if you remember the Clone Saga, he didn't write it, so don't blame him for that. But if you remember the Clone Saga, he actually drew a lot of those covers. And so got these, got a lot of books, and I'm going to get him to probably do a sketch cover for me of an upside down Scarlet Spider. Classic 90s. Yeah, and you know, the Clone Saga was one of those. The two things I had against the Clone Saga back in the day was that they tried to make out like the clone was the real Peter at some point, right? And so then it was like, oh, come on, really? You mean the whole time we hadn't known the real Peter Parker? And so Mary Jane was pregnant at the time, so then it's not really Peter's baby. And I'm like, come on. And it drug on for too long. But look, what series, especially in today's Marvel world, doesn't drag on too long? You know, it's like Batman, Tom King's run on Batman. I thought it was good for the most part. Did it drag on for a lot longer than what it should have? Sure it did. Was that his fault? Probably not. But, there were certain things and milestones that DC was worried about. Tom King got blamed for killing off Alfred, and it was DC that made him do it. Yeah, they do some great stuff. And look, when I go to cons, I try to go look up these indie guys and find some good stuff. And they're always, I mean, they're like salespeople, so I kind of dig it because that's up my alley. But they're like salespeople. And they're like, man, this is this, and you can tell, they got that fire in them about it. It's like, yeah, it's contagious. When you go up to a table and they're like, yeah, you want it, there it is. No, they don't have anything vested in it. So with this Web of Spider-Man 118. That's a Stephen Butler cover right there. Got Spectacular Spider-Man number 229. So that's a lenticular cover or lenticular cover that DC just did a bunch of those here recently. And talking about this cover right here, I got this whole lot of books for almost as much as what some people were trying to sell this one book for on eBay. So just got to be on the lookout. Spectacular Spider-Man, number 227. Got Kane. Spectacular Spider-Man 226. Got Spider-Man 62. Got Spectacular Spider-Man 224. Got Spider-Man 61. Spider-Man 60. So I think I got most of the Clone Saga, the trial of Peter Parker and all that. Again, it went on too long. Mark of Kane, that was another part of it. Spider-Man number 58. Spider-Man number 56. Spider-Man number 55. Spider-Man number 54. All newsstands too. Spider-Man number 53. Web of Spider-Man 119. It's another Stephen Butler cover, I believe. I think he was doing the Web of Spider-Man ones back then. So Spider-Man Maximum Clonage number 1. It's Omega. So the end, right? And chromium cover, as all the 90s books were known for the gimmicks. I remember seeing this one at the local Dale Shamps back in the day. And I thought $4.95 for a picking comic book. Now you pay $3.95 for a regular one, not a special edition. Maximum Clonage Alpha. Yeah, that's right. 90s goodness. Amazing Spider-Man 404, Mark Bagley, who I would argue is one of the best, if not the best, Spider-Mans. Again, just my personal opinion, but I've always dug his Spider-Man art. Not much of his anything else, but dug the Spider-Man stuff. Amazing Spider-Man 405. 405. The Amazing Spider-Man 399. 399. Web of Spider-Man 120. And so this is a Stephen Butler cover. Seems like it's a couple of other people cover too. I think they might have split it all three. Do I prefer? Yeah, I do. I liked McFarlane's run. Yeah, I mean, he's a good Spider-Man artist. Don't get me wrong, and I liked his run on Spider-Man, both in Amazing and then the first part of Spider-Man, singular there. But yeah, I like Bagley. Like Larson's work. Like McFarlane better than Larson. But I think my favorite Spider-Man artist is John Romita Sr. Now, I like John Romita Jr.'s art on Spider-Man, but I know a lot of people don't like that. But I like John Romita Sr. probably the best. Web of Spider-Man 122. The Jackal. I'm going to get your Spider-Man. All right, Web of Spider-Man 1, 2, 3. The True Lies. It's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? Oh yeah, Ramita's bomb. I mean, if he come to a con, I'd be all over that like Funk on Chitlins, man. But I don't think he did. I think he's 91, 92 years old. You can send stuff in to, I think, some kind of facilitator and get that signed. And I've really thought about doing that because he's not going to be around much longer, just the truth of it. Web of Kane, or was Spider-Man? 124. 124. That's Stephen Butler cover there. Web of Spider-Man number 127. Little Punisher action there. Web of Spider-Man 128. Who will wear the webs? Both of them. How about that? New spinoff character. Web of Spider-Man 129. This is Stephen Butler, and I really thought this was a backlit cover, and he might have helped with it. But Web of Spider-Man 129. Gonna split. Great show. Yeah. Appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate everybody for stopping by, whether you're in the live chat or whether or not you are in watching on the rewind. In either case, I appreciate you sticking with me and checking it out. We are almost at an hour, folks, and I do not want to go an hour. And so I know some other shows are fixing to be coming on, and I got the kids coming home myself, so fixing to wrap this thing up, stick a fork in it, and it's done. But this is the last thing that I'm going to show you today. So recently, and for those of you who have been watching and are familiar with the channel, I am on the run or on the hunt for Uncanny X-Men, the original volume series. I'm only 6 issues away from having all 544. So I recently purchased this bad boy. For what I paid for the other comic, which I believe was X-Men 13, about a 2.0 cover, but this one basically came for free. Didn't have a cover, which I'm not really a big fan of. I mean, even though it's a cool comic and, I didn't pay anything essentially for it. But you can go on eBay and get these reproduction covers. And that is what I did. So check this out, the reproduction cover. That is really cool. Now, if I get one day as good as Bub's Comics, I can actually separate the staples and then put them in here and make it look even better. So yeah, that is really cool. I'm really pleased with that. I've been checking out an X-Men 1. For those of you who are familiar with that comic, they are not on the cheap. And so the one I was looking at, this guy come back at $750, and I've been checking out some other big books. And like I mentioned earlier, I got all this other stuff I got going on, so I really don't know or not whether I'm going to bite the bullet and get those big boys. But that looks so much sleeker in there. Now, if I was to get this slabbed, I'm not sure that I would, but if I was to get it slabbed, I would get the Death Nail thing called a purple label. And that would be fine for me for what I want it for. It's my personal collection. I'm not trying to resell it or anything like that. So, but I just like the look of it. Looks pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. So I really appreciate everybody that stopped by today and spent a little time with me, almost an hour now. I was watching this video, or if you watch it on the rewind, I appreciate you too. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, hitting that like button on this video. Check out some of my other videos, and we're going to be announcing a giveaway. I was expecting a box today. It did not come. It'll come tomorrow. So maybe I'll announce it tomorrow if I've got time. Announce the next giveaway as we march towards the next milestone in subscribers. And so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And tell your friends about me. And in a positive note anyway. And until next time, stay safe, keep reading and keep collecting.